say every basketball has a heartbeat. But for Kyrie Irving, it beats in his hands. When the ball touches his palms, it's like gravity stops mattering. The court bends to his rhythm, defenders freeze, and time slows down. You're not watching a player anymore. You're watching an artist at work. They called him the Wizard, the Magician, the guy who made NBA defenders look like cones in practice. But behind those highlights, behind the ankle breakers, the viral clips, and the noise, is a story of pain, rebellion, and redemption. Because Kyrie Irving's journey has been everything: brilliant and broken, chaotic and calm, spiritual and self-destructive. He's been loved and hated, worshipped by millions, and abandoned by franchises. But through it all, one thing never changed. He never stopped dribbling, never stopped chasing peace through the game he loved. This isn't just a basketball story. It's a story about identity, about belief, about what happens when a genius refuses to be understood. So how did a kid from New Jersey, who once scribbled, "I will play in the NBA" on his bedroom wall, become one of the most gifted, yet misunderstood players of his generation? March 23, 1992, Melbourne, Australia. A young father named Kyrie Irving, a professional basketball player overseas, holds his newborn son in his arms. He doesn't know it yet, but that tiny baby is destined to change how the world sees basketball. His name is Kyrie Andrew Irving. When Kyrie was 2 years old, the Irvings packed up and moved back home to the United States to West Orange, New Jersey. That's where his story truly began. Basketball wasn't just around him, it was in him. His father, Drederick, had his jersey retired at Boston University. And his godfather, Rod Strickland, was an NBA point guard known for his flashy handle. So you could say, basketball was in Kyrie's DNA. But what truly shaped him wasn't talent. It was tragedy. When Kyrie was only 4 years old, his mother, Elizabeth, passed away unexpectedly. For a child that young, losing your mother can leave an emptiness that never really goes away. And for Kyrie, that loss became his fuel. From that day forward, his father raised him alone, working long hours by day and turning their tiny apartment into a mini gym by night. They didn't have much, but what they did have was drive. Kyrie and his dad would spend hours on the court. Cold, windy nights, no crowd, no cameras. Just a ball, a dream, and two believers. While most kids were watching cartoons, Kyrie was watching Rod Strickland highlights on repeat, studying footwork, learning how to move defenders, understanding rhythm. He'd study moves until he could copy them perfectly. But here's the twist. Kyrie was naturally left-handed. His father made him play right-handed to strengthen both sides, and that small change gave him an edge most players never develop. Left brain, right brain. Left hand, right hand. Kyrie wasn't just learning to play, he was learning to create. By fourth grade, his obsession had taken over completely. He'd dribble everywhere, to school, through hallways, even inside grocery stores. Him what he wanted to be when he grew up. He didn't say NBA player. He said NBA champion, and he meant it. One night, Kyrie took a marker, walked up to his closet door, and wrote 6 words that would define his life. I will play in the NBA. No backup plan, no safety net, just faith. As he got older, his father would drive him into New York City every weekend 2, sometimes 3 hours, just so Kyrie could play against the best street ball talent in America. In the parks of Harlem and the Bronx, the game was ruthless. Full court pressure, no mercy. You either adapted or you got embarrassed. Kyrie didn't just adapt, he thrived. He learned how to manipulate space, how to control pace, how to use his dribble as a weapon instead of a tool. He was mastering the art of improvisation a street ball soul with professional precision. But it wasn't all smooth. After a heated argument with his father about switching schools, Kyrie quit basketball after his freshman year. For a while, it looked like the dream was over before it even began. But fate wasn't done with him. When he transferred to St. Patrick High School, a powerhouse program 2.5 hours away, Kyrie's father didn't hesitate. He told him, "If you're serious, we'll make it work." So every morning, Kyrie would wake up before dawn, take that long bus ride, and chase a dream no one else could see. He wasn't chasing fame, he was chasing mastery. And slowly, the nation started to notice. St. Patrick's was loaded with talent, but Kyrie's creativity made him stand out. He wasn't the tallest, he wasn't the fastest, but he was different. The ball stuck to his hands like a magnet. He could go left, right, spin, reverse all in a blink. It was like he had handles wired directly into his brain. By his senior year, he was ranked among the top 5 players in the nation. He'd won state titles, played for Team USA, and even shared MVP honors at the Jordan Brand Classic, alongside a young Harrison Barnes. The kid who once wrote, "I will play in the NBA," on his closet wall, was now months away from making it happen. And his next chapter would take him to a place where dreams become pressure and talent meets expectation. By 2010, Kyrie Irving wasn't just a high school star anymore. He was a national sensation. Every major college in the country wanted him. But for Kyrie, there was only one place that felt right: Duke University. Playing under legendary coach Mike Krzyzewski, Coach K himself wasn't just an honor. It was a proving ground. This was where boys became professionals, and Kyrie was ready to show the world that his magic could work on the biggest stage in college basketball. From the moment he stepped on the court, you could tell he was different. His first few games as a Duke Blue Devil were electric. 17 points per game, 5 assists, and shooting splits that made NBA scouts raise their eyebrows. 54% from the field, 45% from 3, 90% from the free throw line. That wasn't just good, that was elite. Every time Kyrie touched the ball, the crowd leaned forward. Every crossover looked like a magic trick. Every finish at the rim like a dance. Even veterans in the college game couldn't stay in front of him. But then, everything changed. In just his 8th game of the season, against Butler, Kyrie made a quick first step to the rim and then stopped suddenly. He looked down. Something felt wrong. That something was a severe toe injury, the kind that sidelines most players for months. For Kyrie, it was a nightmare. He had spent his whole life chasing this dream, and now, just as the world was beginning to see his brilliance, everything was slipping away. For the next 3 months, he could only watch as his teammates battled without him. Every night, the same routine: therapy, film sessions, silence. He was learning the hardest part of being great: patience. Most young athletes lose themselves when they can't play. But Kyrie, he grew. He studied the game from a new angle, slowing it down in his mind, seeing how each piece moved. He wasn't just healing his body, he was sharpening his mind. And when March Madness came around, he returned. Though Duke eventually lost in the Sweet 16, Kyrie was phenomenal. You could see the difference: the speed, the control, the confidence. He didn't look like a college kid anymore. He looked like a pro, and the NBA took notice. With the first pick in the 2011 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Kyrie Irving from Duke University. It was official. The kid who once wrote, "I will play in the NBA" on his closet wall had just made it real. But this wasn't the Cleveland he grew up watching. LeBron James had left for Miami. The franchise was broken, directionless, desperate for hope. And now, all eyes were on Kyrie Irving, a 19-year-old rookie who was supposed to rebuild everything. The transition wasn't easy. The NBA game was faster, tougher, and more physical, but it didn't take long for Kyrie to announce himself to the world. Night after night, he turned defenders into memes. His handles were so tight, so unpredictable, that veteran players would literally stumble trying to keep up. Commentators started calling him the best dribbler in the league. Some even said he might be the best ever. In his rookie year, he averaged 18.5 points, 5 assists, and nearly 40% from three. And when the season ended, Kyrie Irving was crowned Rookie of the Year. He wasn't just living up to expectations, he was rewriting them. Then came his first taste of stardom. All-Star Weekend 2012, the Rookie Challenge. One-on-one moments where he broke ankles, including the infamous clip where he left Brandon Knight frozen mid-court. The crowd went wild. The world was watching, and Kyrie loved every second of it. But even with all the fame, something was missing. Cleveland was still losing. The roster around him was weak. The chemistry was non-existent, and frustration started to build. In 2014, Cleveland made two decisions that would change everything. They re-signed veteran coach Mike Brown and brought in Phil Handy, a specialist who had worked with Kobe Bryant. Handy saw Kyrie's potential, but also his flaws. He told him, "You're incredible, but you're not focused on mastering your craft." Kyrie didn't want to hear it, so Handy called someone who could make him listen. That someone was Kobe Bryant. For Kyrie, Kobe was more than an idol. He was a blueprint. Kobe knew the cost of greatness, the loneliness, the discipline, the obsession. Under Kobe's guidance, Kyrie began to evolve. He started studying tape differently, training harder, and playing smarter. It wasn't just about dribbling anymore, it was about control. And when Cleveland extended him to a long-term contract in 2014, they made one final move that would complete the puzzle. LeBron James came home. The king was back, and beside him, a young, hungry Kyrie Irving, now refined, fearless, and ready for war. Little did they know, the next 2 years would lead to one of the greatest comebacks in sports history. A comeback that would change how we remember Kyrie Irving forever. When LeBron James came home in 2014, the city of Cleveland came alive again. For years, the fans had been heartbroken, betrayed even, after their hometown hero left for Miami. But now, there was a new chapter, a second chance. And right beside LeBron was Kyrie Irving. He was no longer the skinny rookie with fancy handles. He was sharper, stronger, and now, finally, part of a team that could make history. In their first finals run, love went down. Then Kyrie, fractured kneecap, just like that, gone. LeBron fought alone, but the Warriors, led by Curry, took the crown. For most players, that moment breaks you. For Kyrie, it lit a fire. Kobe Bryant's words echoed, "Obsession is the price of greatness." Kyrie came back hungrier than ever. 2016 Finals. Cavs down 3-1. No team had ever come back, but Game 5, Kyrie and LeBron dropped 41 each. Game 6, they tie it up. Game 7, everything on the line. Score tied. Under a minute. Curry switches onto Kyrie. Step back. 3. Swish. Bang. Mike Breen's call that will live forever. That shot ended 52 years of Cleveland pain. LeBron cried. Cleveland exploded. And Kyrie? Calm, peaceful, immortal. He'd finally become a champion, a legend. But legends don't always stay golden, because 1 year later, the same man who hit the shot that changed history asked for a trade. Fans called it betrayal. Kyrie called it freedom, and that choice would begin the darkest chapter of his career. Summer 2017. Kyrie Irving, the man who hit the biggest shot in Cleveland history, shocked the world by asking to leave LeBron James. Fans called him ungrateful. Analysts called him crazy. But Kyrie called it growth. He wasn't running from LeBron, he was chasing independence. Proof that he could lead a team on his own. When he joined the Boston Celtics, it looked like a perfect fit. New city, young core, fresh start. Boston loved him. A 16-game win streak, MVP chance, magic on the court. But soon, cracks appeared. The young players wanted their own spotlight, and Kyrie's leadership clashed with their hunger. Then came injuries. Kyrie missed the playoffs, and Boston reached the conference finals without him. When he returned, the chemistry was gone. Frustration grew. After one loss, Kyrie said, "The young guys don't know what it takes to win." The locker room fractured, the media turned, and the fans started booing. Kyrie began talking more about spirituality and belief, and when he said, "The earth is flat," the internet exploded. Headlines mocked him, and his image began to crumble. After a disappointing 2019 playoffs, he left Boston without a word and signed with the Brooklyn Nets alongside Kevin Durant, later joined by James Harden. A super team built for a championship, but chaos followed. Injuries, controversies, and then the pandemic. Kyrie refused the COVID-19 vaccine, saying it was about personal freedom, not defiance. The league disagreed. He was banned from home games, criticized by media, and labeled a distraction. The Nets unraveled. Harden left, KD got injured, and when Kyrie shared a controversial link online, everything imploded. He was suspended, dropped by Nike, and called every name in the book. Yet through it all, Kyrie said, "I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but I'm human." Behind the headlines was a man exhausted, misunderstood, and searching for peace. People said he'd never recover, never lead again. But Kyrie doesn't follow the world's script, because while everyone else was writing his ending, he was already preparing his comeback. In 2023, he was traded to the Dallas Mavericks. A new city, a new teammate in Luka Dončić, and a new chance to rewrite his story. The question now wasn't about talent. It was whether Kyrie Irving could finally find himself again. February 2023. After years of chaos and controversy, Kyrie Irving was traded to the Dallas Mavericks. To most, it felt like another failed star story. But to Kyrie, it was destiny. Dallas wasn't glamorous, it was quiet, and that's exactly what he needed. In Dallas, Kyrie didn't have to lead headlines or control narratives. He just had to hoop. Alongside Luka Dončić, one of the game's brightest young stars, Kyrie finally found balance. The media said it wouldn't work, that there was only one basketball, but instead of clashing, they clicked. Luka's vision and size matched perfectly with Kyrie's rhythm and creativity. Kyrie stopped talking and started playing. No drama, no distractions, just pure basketball. His handles looked effortless again, his touch magical. It wasn't about proving anything, it was about peace. He became a mentor, a steady voice, and the Mavericks began to rise. By the 2024 playoffs, Kyrie was electric. Nearly 50-40-90 shooting splits, clutch in every moment, guiding Dallas through one of the most unexpected finals runs in years. Analysts called it redemption. Fans called it rebirth. Kyrie called it peace. When asked what changed, he said, "I just stopped trying to control everything and trusted the game again." That's the Kyrie the world had been waiting for. The artist without chaos, the genius without noise. His story isn't perfect, and it never will be. But that imperfection is what makes it real. Because greatness isn't always a straight line. Sometimes it's messy, sometimes misunderstood, but always beautiful. Through every headline, every controversy, one truth never changed. The basketball never lied. When Kyrie steps on the floor, the noise disappears, and the game speaks for him. He's not just the man who couldn't lose the ball, he's the man who refused to lose himself. So when we talk about Kyrie Irving, don't just talk about controversy. Talk about the comeback, the growth, and the freedom he finally found. Because, after everything, Kyrie Irving didn't just return to the game, he found peace in it. If this story moved you, don't let it stop here. Hit that subscribe button, drop a comment about your favorite Kyrie moment, and share this video with someone who still believes in second chances.